Today, I have a few questions for you. Have you ever felt like someone you love or trust is twisting your every word and making you doubt yourself? And so even your memory seems like it's failing you, and you feel like you're walking on eggshells. You're never sure whether you're overreacting to what they say to you. Maybe you just think it's me, it's all in my head. Well, if so, you might be dealing with one of the most damaging forms of emotional abuse, and that's called gaslighting. It's probably the most powerful tool that narcissists use to emotionally manipulate you, and they're really, really good at it. They've almost got an innate skill or gift of blowing up the smallest, most minute disagreement into a big situation, a major situation that will go on sometimes for days, weeks, or years. So, in today's video, I'm going to dive deep into how gaslighting works, its devastating effects on your mental health, and I'm going to give you quite a lot of practical steps you can use to break those chains. But before we get started, I'd love to hear from you. If you've ever felt that you're in this situation, that your reality is being rewritten by your partner, put your story in the comments below. And so we can have a little conversation about how we can deal with this harmful practice and let's create some effective tools to counteract the narcissist arsenal to dominate you emotionally. And before I get going, remember this video is part 2 of a 3-part Save a Marriage from Narcissism series. So if you haven't seen part 1, which is the 10 red flags of narcissistic abuse, I highly recommend you check it out. The links will be below. It'll help you to identify narcissistic abuse quickly, and it also lays the foundation for today's video. Okay, so first off, let me explain what gaslighting is. Okay, it's a sneaky and powerful tool. It's designed to make you question your thoughts, your memories, and perceptions, and your confidence is chipped away until basically you're left doubting yourself. You think it's all about you and your problems, causing the narcissist a problem, as opposed to the other way around. And starting with the basics, it's all about control and power. A narcissist will distort your memories, emotions, and perceptions. They like to keep you dependent on them for what is real. They're going to be your only guide as to what the real situation is and what's happened. It doesn't just happen in romantic relationships, marriages. It can be family members, workplace, and even with friends. So let's give a simple example of a gaslit situation. Okay, you remind your partner about a conversation you had earlier in the week where they said, okay, can you help with the birthday party on the weekend for dad? But when you bring it up, they'll just deny it and say, I never said that. You must be confused. I just never said that. I don't know what you're talking about. Now you're left second guessing. Did you really imagine the whole conversation? It's a classic gaslit situation at play. The second bit I want to explain to you is how gaslighting actually works, how it evolves into something which destroys relationships, marriages, friendships, the whole works. And again, narcissists are gaslighters on steroids. Let's walk through the gradual step-by-step process of how gaslighting evolves, okay, and the key tactics. We've spoken briefly about how they deny conversations. Okay, narcissists will deny conversations, promises, events, and you know it happened, but you feel like you're going crazy. It can be something, splitting household chores. They'll say, "Oh, really, I never helped it. I never helped with the dishes. I never said that. Stop making it up." And despite how many times you go over it, they're going to say the same thing, and that denial makes you question your memory. The narcissist does that to gaslight a situation because by denying reality, they control the very narrative. It keeps you off balance, and you'll be questioning yourself constantly, and to the point where you just give in and just accept the narcissist's version of events. Actions I always tell my clients to defend themselves against this is to start documenting promises, conversations, and important events in writing, by text, or write it down, whatever. Paper trail, as if you're an FBI investigator, because when they deny it, you'll have something concrete to say, oh, no, I told you point blank. One of the ways of getting a gaslighter to, reduce the level of that behavior is to constantly do that. Okay, so they'll give up eventually, but you need to be patient and you need to be very, very thorough. The step two, the narcissistic playbook, is that they will minimize your feelings. Okay, they'll downplay your emotions and make you feel like you're the one who's always overacting. You might feel stung by a hurtful comment, and they'll say, "Oh, come on, you're just being really oversensitive. It's just a joke. Lighten up." And again, this is to make you feel that your emotions rather are not valid. That again, you're in fact the gaslighter. In this situation, it's really important to trust your feelings. No matter how much they downplay it, your feelings are real. And if something hurts you, you're entitled and allowed to feel it. Acknowledge your emotions, even if the narcissist doesn't. Okay, a standard script I say to my clients in this situation is to be really calm and say, whether or not you meant it as a joke, it hurt me. And that matters to me, and it should matter to you. Say no more. Don't justify it, because you need to affirm your feelings without engaging on their level, because they're making an attempt to make you feel guilty for how you feel. The third step in gaslighting is deflection and blame shifting, because when you confront a narcissist, they're going to deny it. They'll usually shift it right back onto you, okay, and probably twice as hard. If you bring up, for example, they haven't been supporting you, they haven't been emotionally supportive, they'll probably come up with something like, "Oh, you're being so dramatic. That's why no one can stand to be around you. It's always about you." Again, you see, narcissists turning the dial, accusing you of being the narcissist. There are actions you can take here. All right. First off, it's best that you stay grounded. Don't fall for it. Don't take the bait. You always have to stay calm. Never get into a protracted conversation trying to justify yourself with a narcissist who's gaslighting you. It does not work. Focus on the narrow issue in hand, because they will bring in all sorts of other things outside the ambit of the discussion. So you may be talking about how they're always late. They'll be saying, "Well, you were late 5 years ago when we had a dinner date." They'll bring all that stuff up. It does not matter. It's one specific moment in time that you are talking about. You don't need their validation. All right. So, deflect it back. Say, "Listen, I'm not interested. We're not talking about my character now. We're talking about how your actions and your words have made me feel." And you have to repeat that no matter how much, because they're going to throw all sorts of, it's like the chaff coming out of Tom Cruise's F-15 aeroplane in Top Gun, to deflect the missile. They'll be throwing all these diversional stuff around, and, you have to stay very focused. All right. So stay grounded. So let's think about the consequences and the psychological impact of gaslighting. All right, I've referred to it above. It's not just manipulation. It's a type of emotional abuse that can have serious long-term psychological effects, primarily on eroding the victim's self-esteem. Okay, it chips away all the time at your self-confidence, bit by bit. And I've seen some pretty severe situations where a victim of a narcissist, basically years down the line, ruins their further relationships because they're still suffering. Okay, they doubt themselves, they doubt their judgment, and chipping away that self-confidence means that from the point of view of a narcissist, you're going to rely on them to validate yourself. Okay, they keep you in a constant state of uncertainty. You're always wondering whether your recollection of things is correct or whether you're just being overly sensitive. Okay, and to expand on that, when you're repeatedly told that your feelings are invalid, it affects how you see yourself. You start to feel powerless, and that bleeds into all areas of your life: work, with friends, even how you parent your children. It can be very damaging for children who have narcissistic parent. And so think just not of yourself, but how your response to it is going to impact them. Okay, because over time it can lead to chronic anxiety, depression, PTSD almost, like symptoms, post-traumatic shock syndrome disorder, damage to your perception of real events. You're always having to ask other people, did I recall this right? Did I say this? Okay, I can say here an action that you can take is to build your confidence, but that's a tough one. You've got to start very, very small. Ideally, you should just try and engage with people or in activities that make you feel good, where you feel confident. Okay, it may be a small group of friends where they really respect you and love being with you, or you could be playing a sport where you're actually good at it. Okay, anything that makes you feel good. The idea is that you're doing something that you love, or you're around people who love you. The goal is to reconnect with your self-worth outside the relationship with the gaslighting narcissist. Here, I mean, you'll see this on the web all the time. People talk about self-care. It's all very well, you're in a difficult relationship, you've got children. How are you going to do it? You have to set aside just some time. All right. Narcissists are going to complain that you're not spending that time with them, that you're not thinking about them, that you want to be apart from them. But even if you can just sort of spend 5-10 minutes a day just journaling your thoughts, make sure you look after your health, because if you feel good inside, then your mental state will start to feel good as well. Or spend time with friends who just remind you of who you are outside your relationship with a narcissist. Okay, so we're covering a lot of ground. Those are sort of short steps you can take. What do you do long term to combat gaslighting? Because in the short term, those things are going to be difficult to implement, but take small steps. In the longer term, you've got to do something that is laborious, that you're going to have to keep doing week in, week out, and to defend yourself. So how are you going to combat gaslighting? All right, these are all actionable strategies you can take long term. First off, I've alluded to it above, just document everything. All right, because a narcissist will rewrite history, your history together of events, of things that were said, and load you with self-doubt about who you are. Let me give you a hypothetical example. Be like an attorney, okay? Set down the breadcrumbs, the paper trail. All right. If you need to, for example, talk about household duties, who's doing the vacuuming, who's doing the washing, send a text. Make sure even if you have to do it to the minute, I've said to some clients in extreme situations, listen, make sure you do it as they're speaking if it comes to it. If they're offended, that's not the problem. If they're telling you the truth, they're going to respect the fact that you want to be clear with them. If you can't do it in the moment, or that's too difficult, then follow up shortly and just summarize it. I've said it before, but keep doing that day in, day out, week in, week out. It's tiresome, yes, but the alternative is way worse. The second practical step that I've said before, build a support network, because a narcissist will isolate you. They'll tell you all your friends think that you're less of a person, that they don't really like you, that they don't love you as much as a narcissist can. And why are you bothering with them? In this instance, you've got to stay connected to people who validate you, particularly after an argument with a narcissist, because you'll already be told that you're overreacting, and nobody will see your point of view. You need to talk to someone you can trust, who's non-judgmental, who will just assure you, okay, that your feelings are valid, and staying grounded is so important, because you probably do this regularly if it's a really difficult situation with a narcissist who's constantly at you, because you need to check in. They will give you emotional clarity and remind you that your perceptions of events are not wrong. Protection step number 3 is to set firm boundaries. Those are not always easy to set, because, again, the truth is irrelevant to a narcissist. If it carries on, if they keep sort of banging away saying, no, you're wrong, I told you, you're not listening to me, you never listened to me, you just have to say, listen, we can agree to disagree here. I remember things differently, and I'm not going to argue about it. Now, this is where, usefully, if you have made notes, text, email, you can then use that to protect yourself. Okay? Set the boundaries very, very carefully. Set them firmly. And if they push back, just say, listen, I need to go and cool off. I need to step away from it. And basically disengage. All right? And narcissists want you to depend totally on them. And you need to make sure that you can, fill the gap of emotional independence with people who love you. Okay? And it doesn't involve the narcissist. And the beauty of this is that if you're in a group of people, or you have a group of people who support you, and the narcissist is not involved with them, and they're going to really object to this, whichever way you look at it, I'm wincing because I've seen some pretty horrible situations. But if you do find that you do get an emotional community, you'll start to realize that to normal folk, you're really valuable for who you are and what you do and what you say. It's like an independent audit of your very reality, so you can see things for what they truly are. This will help you to deal with the narcissist flare-ups without believing that you're going crazy or losing your memory. If you're in this situation, I feel for you and I'm here for you. Okay, so please take the opportunity to subscribe and reach out. Okay, costs nothing, and I'm here to help. So I just want to summarize what you've learned today. Okay, you've learned what gaslighting is and what narcissists use to manipulate you, the key tactics that they use to erode your self-esteem, the psychological effects on mental health and well-being, which are worse than are normally sort of referred to, and practical steps that you can take to break free from gaslighting and get your independence back. And by understanding that, you're better equipped to identify gaslighting, get in front of it, and to take action to protect yourself. The earlier you do it, the less it will escalate. Take a look at part 3, because in the next part of it, we're going to talk about another form of emotional abuse that narcissists use, which is a silent treatment. This would be particularly good for you if you've ever been ignored after an argument or disagreement for days. It's a common tactic used by narcissists to get what they want, to control you and to get a desired reaction, which is normally to try and make you cry, break you down, or make you feel worthless. The next video in this series is called The Silent Treatment in Relationships, Break Free from Emotional Manipulation. And I'll explore why they use this tactic and strategies for breaking free from its control. Okay, so some housekeeping. If you're catching this video after it's aired, you can find the entire Save Your Narcissistic Marriage series on this channel. The playlist will be linked below, or you can find it on the homepage of the channel. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell because you don't want to miss part 1 or any of the upcoming videos. In summary, okay, gaslighting is about control, not truth. All right, if you're ready to take the next step and break free and actually see and enjoy life for what it is, reach out for support because I'm here to help people. Okay, having someone who understands can make such a big difference. So if you'd like to dive in deeper or have a conversation about your specific situation, feel free to reach out. Okay, that's what I'm here for. I've been doing this a long time and I'll be doing it for a long time in the future. So thanks so much for watching. You deserve to feel valued, loved, and understood in any relationship. Take care of yourself, be strong, be you, be happy, and I'll see you in the next video.